You're listening to DFZRadio.com.
Oh, hey there, gentle listeners. This is your buddy, Herb the Wizard, and I'll be ready in just a minute. Just let me find it on the dial.
It's turkey time.
Huh?
Gobble, gobble.
I hate to disappoint you, but rubber lips are immune to your charms.
Well, there we go. This is it. Get ready. We're going to start the show. Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to this, our 52nd episode of the Grubby Cup Show. We got an exciting show for you this evening, yes we do. We got some box from Botanicare that showed up, and we got a visit with some folks out on the road, and it's a good show, so you just make sure that your puppy is safe and get ready, and we'll start the show. And now it's time to listen to a little bit of the wonderful and delightful Kelly Erickson, currently playing with Teaser.
He got some seeds to grow, he'll keep you in the know, variety to claim, so baby, what's his name? He's the man to know, he'll make your garden grow. Grubby Cup's his name, he's the man who'll make a change.
Hello there, gentle listeners. This is your roving bard, Leaf Malone, reporting on the Grow with Grubby Cup show, brought to you by DFZ Radio at DFZRadio.com. And here they are, the buds of the circle table. Oh, see, it is I, Sancho Banza. Good evening. I'm Alfred the Dungeon Keeper. Hi there, friends. This is the Irreverent Joe. And I'm Herb the Wizard. Psst, it's me, Vinny the Viper, the Sheriff of Riding Puck. And I am your host, the Green Knight, Grubby Cup Stash. Thank you for joining us here on the Grow with Grubby Cup show. Brought to you by the good folks over at DFZ Radio at DFZRadio.com. Hello there, Mr. and Mrs. Gentle Reader and all the ships at sea. Now it's time for the Grubby Cup is a portion of our program where we take questions from you, the gentle listeners, and read them here on air. Please keep in mind that plant that shall not be named shall continue not to be named, so please don't include it in your letters. And here with me today is Sancho, my favorite squire. Oh, Signor Grubby Cup! Signor Grubby! What is it, Sancho? Oh, Signor Grubby, you have packages from the Botanicare. Oh, well, that's very cool. Let's see what they got. Okie dokie, I'll bring them over. Oopsie daisy. Oh, that's heavy. Oh, what's in the boxes? Oh, hey there, Grubby. What's in the boxes? Good evening. Oh, hey, guys. Well, check it out. I'm not sure what's in the boxes, but they're from Botanicare, so it's probably some pretty good stuff. Oh, gee, Grubby, let me take a look. Look. There's was a backpack, and it's large enough to fit both a head and a sandwich. Looks very useful indeed. Alfred, do you often have to have a bag that'll hold both a human head and a sandwich? I've found that if you put a little something extra in your lunch sack, people stop stealing your sandwiches and using the refrigerator at all in the break room. Hey, Herb, you know that leftover chicken sandwich I had in the break room fridge? You still want it, you can have it. Oh, gee, Grubby, that's cool. I'm going hungry. I get going hungry when I'm, have a little bit of my magical potion. I really like my magical potions, but that's awful cool, Grubby. Then when I get hungry after having your magical potion, then I could, I go in the refrigerator, I go having your sandwich. Well, hey there, Grubby Cup. What you got in your box there? Well, I've got some kind from Botanicare. Well, yeah, that was awful kind of them to send you some stuff, but what did they send you? Oh, no. It's kind from Botanicare. Well, just Grubby, I know it's kind from Botanicare to send a box, but what's in the box? No. It's a nutrient. Well, yeah, Grubby, I get that it's a nutrient, but what kind is it? Yeah, that's it. It's kind from Botanicare. Well, gee wizard, there, Grubby, that's what I'm trying to ask you. What kind is it? It's kind from Botanicare. It comes with a base nutrient, and then it comes with grow and bloom nutrients. Well, what? Yes, kind is the name of it. Oh, all right. Well, what else is in the box? Sweet. Well, yeah, it was sweet of them to send you stuff. I'm just trying to find out what was they sent you. First they send you some kind of nutrients, and now that they send you, you say it's sweet. Of course it's sweet. They sent you some stuff. Gee wizard. No. They also sent some sweet from Botanicare, and it's a transition bloom supplement. Oh, well, so that's the name of it? Yeah, sweet from Botanicare. Oh, all right. Well, that was pretty kind of them and pretty sweet of them to send you that. Well, hey, Grubby, what you got there? Well, that's some pure blend tea. Oh, I like tea. Grubby? It's not that kind of tea, Herb. Tea doesn't taste very good. It's not for drinking, Herb. That's a compost tea for your plants. All right. As a safety tip for our channel listeners, don't drink it. I think that's a good idea, Herb. What's in your Grubby Cup? What else is in the boxes? Well, yeah, Grubby, because I think I'm going to go wash my mouth out with dragon fire or something. Well, we also have some rhizo gel, which is it's a cutting solution, or, it's a cutting gel. And we'll be getting back to that one. And also a generous container of Rhizo Blast. And one thing that's nice about it is it's a good value for that particular niche. So if you're looking for a similar product, give it a look and save yourself a few bucks. Is there anything else in the box? Why, yes, there's some Pure Blend Pro in both the Bloom and the Grow. This happens to be the soil formula, but they also make one for hydro. Ew. Is it made from real, pure, blended pros? Do they grind them up and bottle them? No, Alfred, and don't you start. We just went through this with herb. It's a nutrient line, so it's similar to Kind, but Kind has the three components, and the Pure Blend Pro just had Pure Blend Pro. I just can't say that today. It has 2 containers. Ew. I haven't been this disappointed since I found out Girl Scout cookies don't have any real Girl Scouts in them. Well, once again, I want to thank Botanicare. We will be putting this to good use. We're going to start some cuttings coming up here real quick, and we'll be using the Rhizo gel. Once again, thank you to Botanicare for your support. If you want to help encourage Botanicare to support the Grow with Grubby Cup show and that, do me a favor and head on over to the Botanicare Facebook page and tell them you heard them on the show. The more they figure this is worthwhile, the more they're likely to do this again in the future, and I'd appreciate that. And now for a few words from our sponsors. The Grow with Grubby Cup show is brought to you by... Tonight's episode is brought to you in part by Shit Kicker Boots. Boots with the pointed toes for kicking shit in corners. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on dfzradio.com.
You're listening to dfzradio.com.
Hey, brah, have you seen the new Kind nutrient from Botanicare? It's kind of a big thing.
No. What's up with that?
Well, I was totally pulling a dawn patrol, chilling with some honeys, when this troll is like, yo, I heard your garden is total weak sauce. And I was like, as if my garden is hella gnarly and bodacious. And then he was like, brah, if you want your stuff to be like Mondo Nar, you need to hook up with Botanicare's Kind nutrients.
Okay, would you be so kind as to tell me what you're talking about?
Only the most bitchin' nutrients to shred a grow since the invention of water, bruh. Kind is on the serious, bruh. There's 1 part base, 1 part grow, and 1 part bloom. Kind is super rad because it's completely customizable, so you can use with any type of plants and medium, bruh. And what's wicked, boss, is that the proprietary Kind formulas eliminate the need to add separate calcium and magnesium supplements to compensate for water quality or specific grow medium.
Rad. That sounds like my kind of base nutrient.
Totally. And Kind Grow has all these primo minerals and like super top secret blend of natural stuff, so you can get a seriously lush canopy, right? And with the Kind Bloom, you get like this major hookup of phosphorus and potassium, but like in a totally righteous proportion, so you get increased biomass and flower initiation. And what's even more awesome is you can adjust the levels of base, grow, and bloom to meet the needs of your medium, plants, and growth stage. You could say it's for any kind you grow. It's totally sweet.
It was very kind of you to tell me about this. So I should, totally hop in my Woody and cruise down to my local hydro hookup and score some Kind nutrients from Botanicare?
Like what? New from Botanicare. Kind base, grow, and bloom. The fully customizable line of nutrients developed for the modern grower. For more information, contact your local hydro store or go online to botanicare.com.
What kind will you grow?
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to DFZ Radio. grubbycupjanuary.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on the DFZ Radio Network at dfzradio.com. And now it's time for Alfred's Garden. Well, hey, Grubby. You told me to remind you not to wait. Oh, hey, Grubby, you told me you told me not to forget to remind you to do something. Oh, really, Herb? What was that? Yeah, I forget. Well, gee wizard, Herb. Oh, wait, I remember. You said we were going to take some tomato cuttings before the frost gets them all from the outside, and you're going to put them on the inside garden. Oh, yeah, that's right. I admit, I've been pretty lax about that. I'm going to grab a couple cuttings from last year's tomatoes. Generally, that's something that you do a little bit earlier than now, but luckily here at the Castle La Mancha, we've got pretty mild winters, so I still have a couple of tomato plants that haven't passed away yet. Oh, gee, Grubby, that's cool. You could grab some of the ones you like best, and then you could have them put them in the inside garden, and then take them back out later on and put them back outside again, so you have a plant for next summer. That's the plan, Herb. Okay, well, let's head on out to the courtyard and take some cuttings. Oh boy, Grubby, that sounds like a good idea. And here we are in the courtyard, looking at what's left of the summer tomato garden. Like I said before, in general, I usually have all this cleaned up by now, but it's been, I've been busy and I've been a little lax. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some cuttings and then I'm going to clean the rest of this up. Well, gee, Grubby, you just cut anywhere you want on your plant, or what do you do? Well, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a growing tip, and that's a place where the new growth is occurring and will continue to grow. You don't want to grab just a leaf. You want to grab an actual growing tip. Well, gee, Grubby, that makes a good idea. If you want to grow, then you probably want a growing tip. Well, how big should the cuttings be there, Grubby Cup, sir? Well, you want it to include the growing tip, and you're going to want enough of the stem to, then put in whatever growing medium you're going to use. Well, that makes sense, Grubby. If you make it too short, then you won't have any room to stick it in anything. But then again, if you make it too long, then you might have troubles, because then you'll fall over and stuff, and yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Different people have different preferences. You want to make it a nice, clean cut, and keep in mind that you're making a wound both in the plant and in the cutting. So you're going to want to baby them a bit, because anytime you have an open wound in a plant, there's a chance for infection. Oh, gee, Grubby, that doesn't sound very nice at all. I wouldn't want my plant to get infected, because then they'd be infected, and that sounds like a very bad thing. Well, yeah, because they can be infected with things like dampening off and root rot and a variety of other icky stuff that will keep your clones from starting or can damage a, otherwise healthy plant. Well, yeah, but you were saying that if they were healthy, then that's one of the best defenses. Oh, absolutely. A healthy plant is one of the best defenses against disease. It's kind of a slippery slope type of thing. The happier and healthier the plant is, the more likely it is to continue to be happy and healthy. Once a plant is turned sickly, then that lowers its resistance to a variety of other nasty things that can infect and hurt a plant. Well, it doesn't sound good. That sounds like a good reason to keep your plants happy and healthy, I think. Yeah, I'd agree. Anyway, so we've made some cuttings from our tomato plants, and we've just used a sharp instrument, and we have a cutting tip. And, well, these that I've taken have about 2.5, 3 inches of stem. Like I said before, some folks like them a little longer, some folks like them really short. Well, gee, what's it, Grubby Cup? What are we doing now? Well, what we're going to do now is keep in mind that what we're trying to do here when we're trying to root at cutting is there are meristem cells, which are undifferentiated cells that are in the stem. And these are kind of like stem cells in people, because what they are is they're cells that haven't declared what it is they're going to be when they grow up. So the meristem cells in the branch, for example, without it being cut off the plant, might have turned into a leaf cell or a flower cell. And what we're going to do is, now that we've cut it off the plant, we're going to expose it to an environment that's going to encourage that meristem cell to turn into a root cell. Oh, well, I guess that makes sense, because we're trying to root the cutting. Absolutely correct. Now, one of the things that we're going to do to try to encourage that meristem cell, or those meristem cells, to become a root instead of a different type of cell, is, in this instance, we're going to use a product from Botanicare called Rhizogel. And what Rhizogel has in it is a rooting hormone known as IBA. And I don't have it memorized, and I don't have my glasses, so I can't tell you what IBA stands for right at the moment. But it is a rooting hormone, like NAA, or there are a couple of others. And what this is going to do is this hormone is going to try to help those meristem cells that are exposed to it to decide to become root cells instead of a leaf cell or a flower cell or a, what other sort of cell. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, since it is a gel, we're going to dip the cutting into the gel. Now, what I have here is a relatively large container of it. And in order not to contaminate this larger container, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit from the large container into a small vial type container. And that way I can just dip the stem in the vial, and that way I don't expose the rest of the Rhizogel in the large bottle to whatever may come off from the stem, from the cutting, from dipping into it. And that way I'm sure that I keep my main supply uncontaminated. Well, gee, Grubby, that sounds like a good idea. Because that way, if something icky got in it, then you'd only have the icky in the little vial, and you could just throw that away, and you wouldn't have a bunch of icky in the big bottle. Well, that's right. Now, hopefully I'm going to look and make sure there's no icky on anything before I dip it, but that's the idea. Anyway, so I'm going to dip the cuttings into the rooting hormone, into the Rhizogel, and I only want to dip it as far as the depth I'm going to put it into the media, because again, remember what this is doing is it's trying to get those cells in the stem to decide that when they grow up they want to be root cells, and you don't want roots higher up on the stem than what's buried. So you only want to dip the lower portion of it into the rooting gel. Oh, gee, Grubby, that kind of makes sense. All right, Grubby. Well, what do we do after they've been dipped in the solution there, the Rhizogel gel? Well, I was going to make some soil cubes, but I seem to have misplaced my soil cube press. But luckily, I had some of the pre-made soil plug type things laying around, so I'm just going to use those. Oh, Grubby, well, sometimes, it's like a cake or something. Sometimes you just want to use it easy, like a mix, and then sometimes you will make it from scratch, and you just, there's room for both. There's just sometimes one's easier than the other, and sometimes, one's more fun than the other, because I like squishy things, and when you make soil cubes, it's really squishy between your fingers, and I really like that. Oh, and to back up a bit, I didn't bother because it's been raining, so everything's really humid and really moist. But generally, once you take the cuttings, go ahead and pop those in a glass of water or something, because that way they'll stay hydrated while you're doing the rest of it. I didn't bother this time because, like I said, it's been raining, everything's very wet, and everything's very humid. But particularly in the summer or what have you, if you take a cutting, you want to keep the end of it wet, because otherwise it can dry out and go into terminal wilt before you get a chance to get it all the way into the media. Oh, gee, Grubby, that's a good idea, but you should have said that a while ago, so maybe you should talk to the editor guys and see if they're going to put that backwards, because I could send us back in time, but then we'd probably have some sort of hilarious adventure and not finish the cuttings. Well, that's true, so let's go ahead and finish these cuttings, and now I've taken the cutting, I've dipped it in the gel, and then I'm going to gently ease it into this pre-made soil plug type thing. If the stem doesn't work in easily, don't snap the stem. You can take something like a bamboo skewer or a crochet hook or a knitting needle, and you can make that hole a little bit larger. Something else that you can do is, if the plant is already starting to show roots, because it was in a, like an aeroponic system or an aeroponic cloner, what you can do is you can split a Rockwell cube or a sprouting cube or whatever in half, and then lay the plant with the roots in the cube, and then close up the two halves and put that in whatever holder container you're going to use, because you don't want to damage any existing roots, because that's the point of what you're trying to do. Oh, gee, Grubby, that makes sense. If you're trying to root a plant, you probably shouldn't break all the roots off. And now that we've got our little tomato plant cuttings in our little cubes, we're just going to set them in a tray and put them under the edge of Alfred's little garden here. And the reason for that is because we want to give them some light, but they don't need really intense light. They particularly don't need to be exposed to a lot of heat from a light, because you're going to want to keep them moist, not soggy, but moist, to encourage those roots, then encourage the plant to stay hydrated until the roots form and start developing, and it starts being able to take up water naturally instead of just through that exposed cutting area. Oh, gee, Grubby, that doesn't sound too difficult. You pretty much go over and you cut the grow tip with a little bit of stem off the plant, and you keep putting in water so it doesn't dry out, and then you take it over and then you dip it in the brewing solution or whatever, and then you put it in your little media, some kind of cube or soil or whatever, and then you put it in the light, and then you don't kill it and you get a plant. That's right. At this point, mostly what you're trying to do is just not kill it, because if you don't kill it, eventually it's going to throw out roots and you'll have another little plant. One nice thing about taking cuttings is that because they are a cutting off of an original plant, they're pretty much the same plant that's just now in two pots. They are genetically very similar to each other. In most cases, you're going to get a plant that's pretty much identical to it. It is a fair potential for some small changes, but by and large, you get a copy of the original plant. That's why this technique is oftentimes referred to as cloning. Oh, gee whiz, Grubby, that don't make sense, because then if you took somebody and you made a copy of DNA and you made a copy of them and then you had that running around, then yeah, that'd be a clone. So I could see where people would say that, doing asexual vegetative propagation will be called cloning because it's a lot easier to say. This program is brought to you in part by the Dewey Mister Magical Mister Tour. Dre and Jeff are running around all over the U.S. extolling the virtues of the Dewey Mister aeroponic engine. Check them out at deweymister.com. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show on DFZ Radio at dfzradio.com.
You're listening to DFZRadio.com.
Hey, brah, have you seen the new kind nutrients from Botanicare? It's kind of a big thing.
No. What's up with that?
Well, I was totally pulling a Dawn Patrol, chilling with some honeys, when this troll is like, yo, I heard your garden is total weak sauce. And I was like, as if my garden is hella gnarly and bodacious. And then he was like, brah, if you want your stuff to be like Mondo Nar, you need to hook up with Botanicare's kind nutrients.
Okay, would you be so kind as to tell me what you're talking about?
Only the most bitchin' nutrients to shred a grow since the invention of water, bruh. Kind is on the serious, bruh. There's 1 part base, 1 part grow, and 1 part bloom. Kind is super rad because it's completely customizable so you can use with any type of plant and medium, bruh. And what's wicked, boss, is that the proprietary kind formulas eliminate the need to add separate calcium and magnesium supplements to compensate for water quality or specific grow medium.
Rad. That sounds like my kind of base nutrient.
Totally. And Kind Grow has all these primo minerals and like super top secret blend of natural stuff so you can get a seriously lush canopy, right? And with the Kind Bloom, you get like this major hookup of phosphorus and potassium, but like in a totally righteous proportion so you get increased biomass and flower initiation. And what's even more awesome is you can adjust the levels of base, grow, and bloom to meet the needs of your medium, plants, and growth stage. You could say it's for any kind you grow. It's totally sweet.
It was very kind of you to tell me about this. So I should, totally hop in my Woody and cruise down to my local hydro hookup and score some kind nutrients from Botanicare?
Like what? New from Botanicare. Kind base, grow, and bloom. The fully customizable line of nutrients developed for the modern grower. For more information, contact your local hydro store or go online to botanicare.com.
What kind will you grow?
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to DFZRadio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash, and you're listening to us on DFZRadio.com. And now it's time for a Buzz of the Circle Table. I'm here in Rockland, California at the Green Garden Store.
Hi, thank you for visiting. My name is Michael Fisher. I'm the owner. Been open almost 5 years now. Love the industry. Love the way it's expanding. There's a few things we'd like to talk about today. One of them is pH.
Well, no, it's very cool. So what do you got to say about pH?
Well, if you're a soil gardener like a lot of us here in Northern California, I think pHing is slightly overrated. When was the last time you pH'd your lawn, your trees, or your roses in your backyard, right? Virtually never. Most backyard gardeners wouldn't even know what pH is or why they would need to do it. If you're running organic soils, organic nutrients, as long as you don't have really crazy water, anything over 9, anything below 5, you don't need to pH. I haven't used my pH meter in probably 10 years, whether I do indoor or outdoor growing, whether I use synthetic or organic nutrients. With that being said, I do use filtered water. That does seem to help. The ultimate being reverse osmosis, but then, of course, you want to add your CalMag back in to remineralize. So I just want to say to a lot of soil growers, maybe do an experiment where you don't pH. In fact, you can use certain things to naturally raise or lower your pH, like Hygrozyme enzyme solution. That's a good pH adjustment. For example, Protect Silica is naturally alkaline or high in pH. So if you think you have low pH issues, throw in a little silica. That'll naturally raise your pH. I've been doing it for years, and I find that I no longer need to pH my water or nutrients.
And something that you mentioned that I am a big fan of, I'm a huge fan of side-by-sides. If you have two plants and you grow them in the same environment and you treat one just a little differently, then at the end you should have a ballpark idea, at least as far as that sample, which way went better.
Absolutely. There's a current publication called Garden Greenhouse Magazine, and they had an article in last issue. He took tomatoes, I believe, in 5.0, and also grew the same tomato stock in, I believe, an 8.0 pH, and showed pictures, and there was virtually no difference. There was an abundance of healthy, ripe tomatoes. However, the exception would obviously be hydroponics, because there's no microbes, there's no media for those microbes to latch onto and stay alive. So if you're in hydro, that is the exception. You do want to pH regularly.
Because, again, with hydro, you have more control, and the more control you have over it, the more you are then responsible for it.
Absolutely. All of your inputs you can generally see within 24 to 48 hours in hydroponics.
Well, thank you again. And once again, this is at the Green Garden Store in Rockland, California. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Grubby.
Flash, and now it's time for your moment of meditation. All right, sit back, relax, let the worries of the day float from your body. Oh, I wonder who's that. Oh, hey, look, it's Jeff and Dre from the Dewey Misters. Hey, guys, come on in. Hi, I'm Grubby Cup Stash, and I'm here with Jeff, and he's going to tell us all about the Dewey Misters. Take it away, Jeff.
Hey, Grubby, I'm here to tell you about the Dewey Mister. It's a pretty nifty little gadget. It's all driven by air. It takes the place of a water pump. What do you think of that, Grubby?
Well, that's very cool. So how does it work?
Well, you hook an air pump to it. There is a venturi, which creates a vacuum through an intake hole. It's approximately an inch off the bottom of your reservoir.
Well, that's very cool. So once you have an air line at the bottom, which makes air bubble, or, it sends air bubbles through, and you have a small opening that will let the water come in as the air bubbles rise, and you've got a nice little airlift pump. Then up at the top, you've got a nice, opening that's curved so that you get the popping little flecks out the top.
Right, and like an air stone would be putting air into your water, the Dewey Mister, you're putting water into the air, and as the cool water hits the warm air, creates an instant evaporation. And evaporation is a cooling factor, which also creates microns.
So the Dewey Mister is an aeroponic. And for those of our gentle listeners, just a gentle reminder, if you have something like a deep water culture or that, basically what you're doing is, since the roots need both air and water,
You're in a DWC system, you're taking water and you're pumping air into it. In an aeroponic system, like the Dewey Mister, what you're doing is you take moisture and you spread it into the air. So either way, the roots have access to both air and water.
Correct. But there's one thing that's very important in the uptake of the water and nutrients into the plant. It has to be in a microscopic form. And between 5 to 50 microns is the perfect size of water droplet or with nutrient in it to efficiently be taken into the plant.
Now, one thing that I really like about the Dewey Mister design is that going through it, the smallest aperture that the fluid has to go through is about what size is the hole?
The intake hole is around 1/8 of an inch.
Which makes it nice because since that's the smallest that the nutrient solution has to go through, that means you don't have to worry about sprinkler heads getting clogged up. And another very nice thing about it is that with this design, since you're using air from an air pump outside of the reservoir, you don't have to worry about having a water pump in the reservoir that's heating the water.
That is correct. That is a very benefit for your whole system, keeping the air heat out of your reservoir. That causes a lot of problems. Also, you get the perfect environment for your root system.
And with me today, also from Dewey Mister, is Dre. Take it away, Dre.
Hi, thanks, Grubby. One of the benefits that this particular product has to offer is that it does emit a mist or a vapor that's between 5 to 50 microns. And when you're dealing with water droplets and molecules that small, they tend to hang there for a very long time. And so they can drift over a very wide or large area and cover a good root mass with just a single mister head. So one of the added benefits to running with Dewey Mister aeroponic units is that they are super water conservative. They're very low flow. And so that being said, there's also a lot that you can do with them as far as versatility goes.
So it's a very cool design, and they're really worth taking a look at. But what do they do? How do you use them?
Well, they have different applications. You can use them for cloning multiple plants at one time, or you can use them for growing a single plant. One thing that we have a lot of people that are doing is that they're taking a good amount of individual misters and they're refurbishing or repurposing their old resis or trays or basins or whatever chambers they have that for whatever reason haven't been successful growing or have had problems. They've been putting the Dewey Misters in them and they've been running them very, very effectively, very successfully. And the reasons that I'm sure you're aware of that why that works is because they don't clog, they don't overheat the water, they don't attract bacteria. You know, it's just a very simple set it and forget it style tool that anybody can work with.
Well, it looks like that would be a pretty easy retrofit in most cases, too.
Yeah, the suction cups work out really great to basically get it to stick to the bottom of your buckets or your pails or whatever. Some people will put something on the bottom to hold them in place, like maybe coconut oil or something like that before they stick them to the bottom. Otherwise, you can come up through the bottom of your trays by drilling a hole and attaching a grommet or a top hat if you want to conserve more water and space.
I happen to know that in Alfred's garden, as we speak, is a Dewey Mister cloner with tomato cuttings in it. I think a couple catnip.
Yeah, they're great for cloning, and you can run whatever nutrient solution of your choice, whatever's clever. You can try to throw the house at it. They run clog-free, so they're great for your cloning periods, but then whenever you're ready to boost up into your vegetative or growth stages, they can handle that too.
Well, very cool. Thank you for stopping by. And once again, that's the Dewey Misters. And if someone wanted to get a Dewey Mister, where could they go?
You should check them out at your local hydro shop. If you don't have them there yet, have them check out www.deweymister.com. That's DEWEYMISTER.com.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, this has been Jeff and Dre from the Dewey Mister crew. The Grow with Grubby Cup show is brought to you by
The La Mancha Safety Council. Stay safe, America.
Also brought to you by Grow With Us Hydroponics. If you're in the Rhode Island, Warwick area and you need some hydroponic supplies, stop on by at Grow With Us Hydroponics. Tell them Grubby sent you. Speaking of the Rhode Island, New England area, if you happen to be in the Rhode Island, New England area, stop off at Grow With Us Hydroponics, Home and Hydro, or Three Guys Hydroponics, all of which are very fine stores in the Rhode Island area, all of which are carrying Grubby Cup's potting mix. If you are in New York, make sure to stop off at Harvest Moon Hydroponics in Buffalo and in Rochester. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on dfzradio.com.
Hey, brah, have you seen the new kind nutrients from Botanicare? It's kind of a big thing.
No. What's up with that?
Well, I was totally pulling a dawn patrol, chilling with some honeys, when this troll is like, yo, I heard your garden is total weak sauce. And I was like, as if my garden is hella gnarly bodacious. And then he was like, brah, if you want your stuff to be like Mondo Narnar, you need to hook up with Botanicare's kind nutrients.
Okay, would you be so kind as to tell me what you're talking about?
Only the most bitchin' nutrients to shred a grow since the invention of water, bruh. Kind is on the serious, bruh. There's 1 part base, 1 part grow, and 1 part bloom. Kind is super rad because it's completely customizable so you can use with any type of plant and medium, bruh. And what's wicked, boss, is that the proprietary kind formulas eliminate the need to add separate calcium and magnesium supplements to compensate for water quality or specific grow medium.
Rad. That sounds like my kind of base nutrient.
Totally. And Kind Grow has all these primo minerals and like super top secret blend of natural stuff so you can get a seriously lush canopy, right? And with the Kind Bloom, you get like this major hookup of phosphorus and potassium, but like in a totally righteous proportion so you get increased biomass and flower initiation. And what's even more awesome is you can adjust the levels of base, grow, and bloom to meet the needs of your medium, plants, and growth stage. You could say it's for any kind you grow. It's totally sweet.
It was very kind of you to tell me about this. So I should, totally hop in my Woody and cruise down to my local hydro hookup and score some kind nutrients from Botanicare?
Like what? New from Botanicare. Kind base, grow, and bloom. The fully customizable line of nutrients developed for the modern grower. For more information, contact your local hydro store or go online to botanicare.com.
What kind will you grow?
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to dfzradio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on DFZ Radio at dfzradio.com. And as a special treat tonight, we have a special guest. We've got the Leprechaun.
Here hanging out with friends and meeting new folks. You know what I mean, Grubby?
So, do you like it here in Grass Valley?
Oh, yes. Grass Valley is very nice. It's kind of like the Emerald Triangle of Sacramento, you know what I mean? That's what people tell me.
Are you having a good time while you're in town?
Well, you know, I've kind of went beyond a good time, you know? And I'm having a real good time. You know how that goes. And when you go out on the road and you're trying to, grubby, well, you know, you're trying to go out there and put your product out there, you know what I mean? And it's really kind of quite an interesting thing, you know? You go out there and you meet people and they resist you at first, and then you explain yourself, and you say, hey, I make my products in the USA.
Well, that's a good thing.
Well, they really like it, you know, and what I'm finding about is that a lot of products in the growing industry come from China.
This is true. That is true. A lot of it is made in China and imported in.
Yes, and I don't dislike China. I think there's some cool people in China. I have some really good followers from China, and they like my the way that they like my product.
Have you had a nip or two this evening?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry for that. You know, I do like to have a cocktail or two once in a while. And I've been on a long road trip. And about 3,000, 4,000 miles, you know. And it's really kind of an unwinding thing to have a nip or two.
That's quite the beard you got going there.
Oh, yes, and, you know, Grubby, you have a very nice beard, too, and I really like the way you grow your beard, and I'm beginning to grow mine out, and I think that maybe I'm trying to do it to outdo you.
Oh, you got a very nice beard going on, and thank you for the compliment. Now, what would you say to anybody that was trying to steal your pot of gold?
Oh, I would say be careful, 'cause Jethro is sneaky, and he'll come up on you, and if you steal, he don't like that. He might just try to cause problems for you with your theft.
And once again, this was Jethro the Leprechaun here on the Buds of the Circle table.
Well, yes!
Hello there, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. And now for a few words from the Irreverend Job. All right, and now I'd like to talk a little bit about greed. If you have a person and they are hoarding magazines, if they are hoarding newspaper until it reaches the point where it is beyond anything they need, we say that this person is mentally disturbed, that there's something wrong with them, that they got a problem. If you have somebody and they're hoarding kitties, or they're hoarding dolls, or they're hoarding some other weird knick-knack, we say that there's something wrong with them. But if we got us a person and they're hoarding money, somehow we take this same illness and we start lavishing attention and praise on them. Now, friends, it's the same sickness. It's just more socially acceptable.
if you was to have you a couple of kids and there were 2 pieces of candy and you tell the children that they can each have a piece of candy and one kid runs over and he pops both of them in his mouth, you tell that child that they're wrong. If you are a CEO in your 30s and there's something wrong with you because you didn't learn that lesson when you was 2, all of a sudden we start treating it like it's not a defect anymore. Now, friends, the problem here is that them there folks that hoard food or newspapers or something like that, they tend to limit how many other people are affected by their disorder. But with greedy folks, they often get in a situation where they can affect the lives of millions of other people. And having greedy folks make the decisions for millions of other people tends to benefit the greedy folks and not benefit the millions of other people. Now, I ain't looking to be mean to anybody, so I ain't gonna name names in particulars, but if you're paying the least little bit of attention, I think you can spot a few of these type of folks there in the news and, frankly, in the industry. And what I want to say to you, or at least those of you that are in the millions and not those of you that have the millions, is that you shouldn't feel bad because they are better at hoarding money than you are. That they are better at manipulating things, and because let's face it, quite often it ain't so much their work than taking credit for the work of others that get them in that lofty position, or they inherited it, or some other method that's got little to do with the sweat of their brow. So don't feel bad because you were bright enough as a child to learn there are other things in life besides trying to hoard riches and be greedy and grab as much as you can from whenever you can, wherever you can. You rest well and you look yourself in the eye and know that you're probably a better person, and make every effort you can to help the forces of niceness, and don't be an asshole. This has been a serum from the Irreverend Job. And that's about all the time we have for this week. You've been listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I've been your host, Grubby Cup Stash. Until next week, peace, love, and puka shells.
Got some seeds to grow, he'll keep you in the know. Variety to claim, so baby, what's his name? He's a man to know. He'll make your garden grow. Grubby Cup's his name. He's the man who make a change.
We just for you listening to the whole show, and you even listen to the very end of the theme song. And I'm awful glad you tuned in, because I really appreciate it when people tune in, because that's pretty much what keeps us on the air. And this is your buddy, Up the Wizard, and I'm saying I hope you have a G-Wizard splendiferous week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to DFZRadio.com.